Now, from Wish TV, your local news source, this is All Indiana Politics.
Good morning, happy St. Patrick's Day, and welcome to All Indiana Politics. I'm Garrett Bergquist. One of the candidates for Indiana's 5th Congressional District says its next member of Congress needs a mix of business, medical, and government experience. Raju Chinthala is one of 10 Republicans challenging Congresswoman Victoria Spartz. He tells me he's running because he wants to give back to his adoptive country and community. Let's bring in 5th District Congressional candidate Raju Chinthala. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate having me here.
So why are you running for Congress?
I've been in Indiana for 30 years also, 28 years now. I moved here in 1996. I have experience in a different way. My name is Raju Chinthala. I worked as a speech pathologist when I came to this state of Indiana. I also entered into several other businesses, including hospitality business. Then I started working for state of Indiana. I represented state of Indiana in India as a senior advisor for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. This experience not many candidates have in the Congress. Healthcare, business, government. I worked with many campaigns. I want to give back to this country. This country has given me so much in the last 30 years. I came here in 1994 to United States after finishing my master's. I want to give back to this. I want to develop. I know the 5th District. I want to develop the 5th District as a #1 model district in the country. I also want to help the constituents with the constituent services. That's where my focus is. I want to give back to this community. I have resources, I have time, and I can do that.
On your website, you say that you want to enforce America's existing immigration laws. You also want to reform the legal immigration system and address the status of undocumented immigrants who are already in this country. Tell me more about that.
First of all, I would like to see H-1B lottery system should be abolished. We must abolish H-1B lottery system because it is causing major problems with the many small businesses and major corporations. Only major corporations are getting these H-1B visas, whereas small businesses are not able to get them because the volume is so low and the lottery doesn't work for them because they're spending too much money on attorney fees, not able to sure when they will get it. Second is, I want to fix the green card process. Right now, I heard a H-1B holder, legal immigrant, to get a green card, it takes around 30 to 40 years. It is worse than slaves. It's worse than slaving that we are bringing these H-1B workers, making them to work without knowing where to go, what is their future, where will their children go? Will they get their children go to college? Will they get a green card or citizenship? Not knowing they're keeping them, that's one of the worst system, 30 to 40 years. We are supposed to be one of the greatest country on this earth. And the third is illegal immigration. I'm talking to illegal immigration, 2 subjects. One is undocumented people who are here in this country. I heard more than 3 million, something like that. We need to do something for them. It's not about Republican, it's not about Democrat. It is an issue for everybody. We want to make them pay the taxes. We should be able to train them for workforce that requires in the country. But also same time, they will have a life, quality of life.
We've had a number of standoffs over the past few years over government spending that has very nearly resulted in federal government shutdowns. How would you approach that issue?
I've seen that happens more every 4 years rather than every year. I think the people, when they come to election cycle, that happens more. I've seen that. I've seen the congressmen and senators and president talking more about that budget just that election year before the primary. Like this just happened in 2023 because 2024 it became a vote bank issue rather than solving that issue. I'm not expert in a budget, but I'm sure we can find a solution to fix that so that we don't have every year dealing with that. And politicians should not be using that issue for political or vote banking.
There's a lot of focus this cycle on abortion. You've said that you support pro-life policies and legislation while advocating for women's health and alternatives to abortion. What do you mean by that?
See, first of all, the abortion issue is not a federal issue. Federal Constitution does not have anything to do with abortion. It must be local. The states should have right. That's where the local government comes in. That's why we have to separate federal and local. Issues are separate. The abortion is not a federal government issue. It is a state government issue. The state should have right to pass within their states. I'm all for that. Federal government should not involve in that issue because it's unconstitutional.
We've covered a lot of ground in this interview. What's one thing that we haven't talked about that you believe is not getting enough attention in Washington right now?
Jobs, jobs, jobs. Education, education, education. These two are the only basic things that eliminates the poverty. It also helps with the mental health issues that's causing a lot of problem. And it also helps boost the community wellness. Wealth of our healthy community depends on how much we make, wages, and how much we are creating the jobs for next generation. I'm really concerned about my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. My son is a medical school student. He's a third-year medical school student at Indiana University. My wife is a geriatric psychiatrist. She works with the mental health issues. She sees hundreds of patients every day with her other psychiatrists, as well as she has one of the largest psychiatric practice in the state of Indiana. She has an 88-bed hospital that she takes care of it. We know mental health issues, how to bring the jobs, how to revitalize the economy, how to create jobs and provide the infrastructure that requires the businesses to create jobs, more jobs.
Coming up, we continue our coverage of Hamilton County's legislative primaries, this time with a candidate for the General Assembly. Welcome back. Indiana House District 24 is up for grabs this fall. Republican Representative Donna Shibley is retiring from that seat. It covers much of Hamilton County. Last week, we introduced you to a Democratic candidate who hopes to flip that seat. Now we bring you one of the Republican candidates. Our Phil Sanchez talked to Bill Gutrich about his decision to run.
Bill Gutrich, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Before we get rolling on some of the big topics and why you're running, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Chicago. I'm the son of a Chicago policeman in a family full of first responders, policemen, firemen, teachers, nurses, all civil servants. But raised my family along with my wife Janet here in Hamilton County. Absolutely love Indiana. We've made our life here. Our kids are from Indiana in their minds, and we're here for the duration. So.
And now you want to run for politics, huh?
Yeah. So actually, with that basis and wanting to be a public servant like my folks, I just think with the love I have for public service and for the community that we have in Hamilton County and Central Indiana in general, I'd like to help make it better for our kids and grandkids. And future citizens to come. We're already nationally recognized as a great place to live, so I'd like to help make that better. And I think, with 35 years of business experience, I have some unique acumen that would maybe allow me to be a great legislator, and so I want to offer myself to serve the people of the 24th District.
Okay, so what are some of the topics, the issues that are close to your heart?
Yeah, so the things I'll try to have some positive impact on is, first of all, effective government with low taxes. I think probably the most profound responsibility of our legislator is to steward the hard-earned tax dollars of our citizens and make sure that those are invested in the public good in a good way. Other things, improve our education scores and fight for good and strong schools. Public safety is near and dear to my heart. I think it's foundational to have good public safety. And beyond that, smart development. The 24th District where I hope to serve, with the communities of Westfield, Carmel, and the town of Sheridan, and also northeast Boone County. It's the fastest growing district in Indiana, so we need smart, thoughtful development in the area.
What has happened in that area that maybe that you've seen that you would like to maybe do differently if you were running, or if you were in office?
Well, I think part of, particularly I live in Westfield, there's been a lot of housing development, but not enough corporate businesses attracted to the area. We need that. We need to have those corporations to build a strong 3% tax base, but also to provide jobs and good paying jobs for the citizens that want to move to the area.
A big talking point, you and I were talking off camera about this, is Grant Park, obviously.
Yep.
So how does that play a role in your ideas of the future of Westfield?
Well, Grant Park is a wonderful, wonderful vision, and it has drawn a lot of people to the area, but we have to develop and complete that play and build around that and make it more than just a place people come to and then turn around and leave, but actually get them to stay in the area, spend their dollars in the area, and want to live in the area too. So I think that's all part of it.
First time running, we mentioned that.
Yes.
So how's it been? How's the campaign been going?
Oh, it's been a journey, and it's really interesting. The best part of it to me is I've been out knocking doors. I've probably been through about 1,500 homes so far, and I love that, to talk to the voters and learn about what's really on their minds, and because ultimately this job is about representing them and representing their views and making sure I advocate for that at the State House.
What are some of the conversations you have with folks, and what do you hear?
Well, thankfully, it's the things I listed that I thought I would like to run on is, public safety is something that a lot of people are talking about, education, taxes too, higher property taxes that keep accelerating because the property values go up. Kind of a problem for seniors, right, that are on fixed incomes and their property taxes continue to go up. So there's a lot to address and look at there. But yeah, some of the core issues, if folks want their tax dollars invested well, and they want smart, effective government.
Yeah. Any concern about how divisive politics are, and kind of jumping in at a very divisive time, Bill?
Yeah, that's something, right? It used to be okay for folks to disagree, right? And I believe that soundly. A lot of times people say, don't talk about politics. We don't want to get in an argument. I actually think we should talk about things, because that's how you challenge your own assumptions, and you need to be respectful to each other and have an open mind. So I hope to go and be a practical, reasonable state representative, and truly focused on what is best for the community, regardless from which side it comes, right? And try and close that divisiveness, because we're all human beings and we're all trying to do best. And often when people are on opposite sides of an issue, they just have a different perspective, and we need to realize that and seek to learn and understand that perspective, so we form better ideas altogether.
100%. I couldn't agree more, Bill. Before, we're almost out of time, Bill, but before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to add in that maybe I didn't ask? Yeah,
no, I would say, I think what defines my candidacy differently is that business experience, and I just think that really prepares someone well. I was an executive for many years across many industries, and leading partnerships and negotiating agreements, and so the legislative landscape in the State House can be pretty crazy. So I think I'm just well prepared to handle that and deliver positive impact and good results. The other thing I might mention real quick is I am the only candidate in the Republican primary who actually lives in Hamilton County, and Hamilton County is 94% of this district. I also live in Westfield. Westfield is 60% of the district, and Westfield has the fastest growing community in Indiana. We've never had an elected state rep from Westfield, and if I'm elected, I will be the first. And we think that makes some sense. In that community, as it grows, deserves a voice in the State House. So I'll try and provide that, but equally represent the communities of Carmel and Sheridan and northeast Boone County, and also try and do good work for the people of Indiana.
Bill, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Coming up, Indiana's best political team on a potential TikTok ban, and a pair of clinched presidential nominations. Welcome back to All Indiana Politics, as we welcome in two members of Indiana's best political team, Republican Whitley Yates and Democrat Ariel Brandy. Let's begin in Washington. The U.S. House approved a bill that would force TikTok's parent company to sell the app, or else it will be removed from app stores. It got broad bipartisan support, including from all of Indiana's 9 House members. Now, civil liberties groups say it amounts to censorship and unnecessary government intrusion into a private business. Whitley, is this going to hold up in court?
I'm not sure if it is going to hold up in court, but what I do think is important is that we've seen that TikTok has been keylogging data of American citizens. And I think that this is just a move to protect the data and keep it out of a foreign entity in foreign government's hands.
Ariel, I'll let you weigh in on this as well, but also, how likely is it that TikTok would be able to find a suitable buyer? The bill would only give them 6 months to do so.
I think that it won't take them long to find one. I mean, it's unfortunate that our country is obsessed with this social media platform. I can say I'm not a TikTok girly, so I can't really speak to it to myself. But what I will say is, obviously, we know we have some intelligence things that we're looking at. We know Representative Carson did talk about this exclusively. But for me right now, it's very interesting that we can come together around banning TikTok, but we can't come together around any of the other issues that Americans are very concerned about right now here in this country. So if this is what we're gonna, rally around, then I guess. But I'm really concerned about the housing crisis and inflation and all of the things right now that Americans are saying, hey, red flags here, we need help. And right now we're looking at a TikTok ban.
Staying with national politics for a moment, Joe Biden and Donald Trump both clinched their respective parties' nominations for president this past week. And this is despite a number of Americans raising concerns about both men's age and fitness for office. This is for both of you. What does it say about your party's voter bases that they choose to nominate two deeply flawed candidates? Ariel, we'll start with you.
Yeah, well, what I'll say right now with our voting base is that right now on our side, it's really conflicted because Biden should be concerned about a lot of these uncommitted voters. I will put that out there. Like, that is something that is deeply happening across the country, and we saw happen on Super Tuesday. And so while our party may be fractured around this issue and he may be our nominee, I do think that it speaks volumes to the fact that people aren't really decided on who it is exactly they want to lead this country.
Whitley?
I think the party choice is pretty binary right now. The voters have spoken, the delegates have been dished out. And so the truth right now is that Biden is the nominee for the Democratic Party, and Trump, as there's no other candidates and has clinched the necessary delegates, will be the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. And so it's no longer about a competition intra-party. It is a Joe Biden versus Donald Trump fight right now. And I think it's just incumbent upon Americans to really ask if we're comfortable with where America is and the direction that it's going, or if it's time for change.
Let's move closer to home. Governor Eric Holcomb on Wednesday signed a bill to require schools to work with parents of chronically absent students to come up with attendance plans, and they would have to include any wraparound services the child needs. Whitley, I've got about a minute 30 to go. How far will this go towards solving Indiana's student absenteeism issue?
I think Republicans have been strong on addressing this problem and providing the necessary teeth within policies and legislations to be able to ensure that our students remain in school. The Teachers Association is in agreement with this, and I think we should be doing whatever is possible to make sure that we keep our students in school.
Ariel, it's worth noting the proportion of chronically absent students is similar to the number that can't read at grade level. They're both about 1 in 5. Do you see this playing into efforts to improve literacy outcomes?
I do, and I see that our representatives and our governor is really committed to that, and I think that that's super important, especially for me as a parent. I just really hope that we continue down the path of not punishing the parents for things that they just have out of their control, but that we stick to making sure that our students are taken care of.
Now, before we go, on a much lighter note, it's Selection Sunday. How will Indiana's teams do in the tournament, and who do you think will win it all? Ariel?
Hey, on the men's side, I'm Indiana State all the way, alma mater. I really hope they make it to the big dance. I'm excited about them. But women's basketball right now is killing it, and I'm very much paying attention to what's happening in Iowa, LSU, and South Carolina.
Whitley, take us home for both tournaments.
I think South Carolina is going to have it for women's basketball, but I have close friends that went to LSU, and I do not want to be yelling against the LSU crowd. I will say for men, I'm looking at Houston, obviously UConn and UK, leaning a little bit more towards Houston since they've never won. So hopefully we'll have, some underdog story to tell a little bit later.
All right. Thanks a lot, ladies. We'll be back after this.
Thank you.